Hey everybody, it's Chugga Conroy. Welcome back to more Kid Icarus Uprising. In the last episode, we took down the Reset Bomb Depot, putting an end to Viridi's reign of terror. In this episode, we're going to the moon, because I don't know. But what I do know is, I want to head into gear first, like I usually do. Through fusing weapons, I created a Virgo Palm, which we obtained one of those last time. I should mention, actually, that if you see X's on your weapon fusion screen, that doesn't mean that you can't fuse as weapons, it just means you don't have whatever the result of that weapon fusion would be. Same thing goes when you're street passing and you get a gray gem with a question mark in it. So if you've been wondering about that, that's what that is. The Virgo Palm is a really interesting weapon. It doesn't have as good a shot homing as other palms, but it has the longest shot distance of any palm. It even rivals some stabs. And its shots grow in size the further they travel. It also has one other thing that it does, but I think it's best that I actually get into that when we're on the ground with it. I also should mention that I've switched out my powers. I have gone with Mega Laser and Health Recovery still. I also still have my Brief Invincibility and Crisis Recovery, but I went ahead and switched out some of my more standard attacks like Infuse Attack, and went with Reflect Barrier Level 2. This will make it so that I can create a barrier that will reflect shots back at enemies, but I will be unaffected by it. I get two uses of this. It's a really, really helpful power to have, especially for a certain fight that's coming up. Just saying. Anyway, though, the one thing that I want to talk about this time before moving out, I apologize if these go on a little bit long, but I just kind of want to put all the information that I can into these videos, is that Kid Icarus Uprising had a few localization differences that I'd like to mention. Now, I want to say this. The only localization differences I know of are Chapter 12 and earlier, which is why I'm going over them now of all times. I don't know of any later ones. If you know of any later ones and can provide video proof, I'd be happy to feature them later on. I'd also like to give a big thanks to Mr. Malakar for letting me use his footage for this. He was very, very nice letting me use his subtitles and his gameplay footage. First thing is, I said in Chapter 7 that I was curious what Thanatos says because his Japanese name didn't have the translation error that the American version had. Well, here's what he says. It's kind of disappointing, to be honest. He just kind of says the fortress is impenetrable and not much else. But hey, what can you say when there wasn't really anything there in the Japanese version? The second localization change that I know of is that when Dark Pit fights the Underworld Gatekeeper by kicking it in the face, in the American version he's a badass and is like, that's how you take out a boss. In the Japanese version, instead, he injures himself, and even though you see him fly off, it's kind of still left a bit open what might have happened to him. Some people think he might not have made it, and honestly, I kind of like the Japanese version a little bit better because it kind of emphasizes how powerful the three sacred treasures are. Despite the fact that Dark Pit is indeed very strong, he still kind of fell without the three sacred treasures there to help him and got greatly injured in the process. So, I kind of like that a little bit better in their version. The last difference, and this one is really funny, is that I was saying that Viridi's line of calling Pit a dweeb last time had significance. In the Japanese version, she doesn't call him a dweeb, she calls him a crane fly, which those are specifically known in Japan for poor flying ability, so yeah, you can kind of infer what she was getting at. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about the extra thing at the start of this video. So let's get into it, the Lunar Sanctum. There is one intensity gate in this chapter, and personally, I consider it the worst intensity gate of them all. It's a 7.0. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've taken on an 8 intensity gate, I've taken on a 9. Why is this one harder? Well, you'll see. Let's move out! Prepare for awesome singing.
Again today I will go soaring through the sky. My enemies, I'll dish them up and up to fry. Gracious goddess of light, watches from up above. At dinner time, I always show the cooks some love.
What are you singing?
Just this little victory song I made up. We stopped Viridi. Now it's time to take down Hades.
Not quite. We still have to contend with our forces, specifically Arlon the Serene.
Oh, is he one of her commanders?
Yes, and he has a weapon so lethal it makes reset bombs seem like firecrackers. Arlon's base is close by. You see the moon?
Yeah. It's really pretty tonight.
And what about that?
Like I said, they're pretty. Wait a sec. They're two moons?
They're like eyes watching you.
Ah, I wish they wouldn't. I get stage fright. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What kind of moon is that?
That's Arlon's Lunar Sanctum. Clearly, there's more to it than meets the eye.
Dun, dun, dun.
Very cool. And dangerous. I take it back. It's not cool at all.
You're going in.
Alright, so let's head into the moon, because that is Arlon's base of operations. Right over there we got a Captain Flare, who once again is like the most awesomest awesome enemy ever. I mean, he's Captain Flare. I mean, how much awesome do you get that? Well, I guess Captain Falcon, but still, you get what I'm saying. And don't act like there was not inspiration from Smash Brothers in this game, because there totally was. They knew exactly what they were doing. But as we head up to the moon, that is indeed looking very lethal, just as Palutena was telling us. Those lasers are really, really destructive.
Those lasers are quite the security system.
You're telling me?
With all this firepower, Arlon must be preparing for a massive attack.
Why on earth would I be attacking? I'm far too busy defending, my dear.
Huh?
You must be Commander Arlon.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Lady Palutena. And yours too, young Master Fate. I have heard tales of your prowess from my mistress Viridi.
Well, that's weirdly nice of her.
She said I mustn't let your attacks spread chaos here, of all places. Before you cause most unnatural harm, let us sit down for a chat.
I might consider it if you withdrew your forces and banded with us to face the Underworld Army together.
Those decisions fall to the will of Mistress Viridi. Unfortunately, it's entirely out of my purview. I do hope you understand.
What's a purview? And why do you talk like that? Bad guys are supposed to be more like, "Grah!" and I'm gonna kill you!
Ah, the young master is skilled in impressions, I see. Would you care to perform more?
That's all I've got.
The idea of this guy, Arlon, just being this classy Englishman who is a warlord, following the orders of what looks like a little girl. I mean, I know that Viridi is a goddess who's been alive for thousands of years, but still.
Pig, watch out!
Huh?
That attack was vicious. I see a corridor we can enter through. Hold on.
Well, flying straight in is definitely not going to work, so let's head on down. Got a treasure fish right here that's going to have a happy trigger for you. That'll be kind of nice, because the charge shots of the Virgo Palm are pretty good. Virgo Palm also doesn't charge up very fast, so this is very welcome. And if I could actually have some enemies to kill with it, that'd be quite nice. Bladers, how I don't like them. You want to be very, very careful when going through here. You can take lots of heavy damage from just running into things, because you can't stop. Power of Flight does not allow you to just stop in midair unless Palutena has anything to say about it. What's nice is that you can actually run around down here, so if you like the whole running animation while you're in the stages, you can, and whoa, hey!
Let me introduce you to the Flages, the covert ops specialists for Viridi's army. Do they strike your fancy?
No.
Personally, I'm quite fond of them.
Right? Because I care so much.
Your concern is noted.
I was being sarcastic. I don't care at all.
Oh yes, I almost forgot.
Forgot what?
To close the gates. And the gates go shut.
Yikes! Cut it out!
The power of flight is running out. We have to move. Find the breakable spots on the gates and shoot through. You can also break through with melee attacks.
This area is so jerkish if you are going in with a club or a weapon that charges slowly. Luckily, I was able to do it despite the fact that the Virgo Club is not the fast-charging weapon in the world. Wait, Club Palm.
It's tight, so watch out.
Okay, I barely survived it. I am very, very content. I didn't think I was going to make it at all, but I did. Just got to see how I do from here on out. Because if I just barely survive the flying stage, I'm worried about how I'm going to do on the ground.
Talk about ritzy.
It's like a whole other world. A classier world.
I'm deeply flattered by your gracious compliments.
Who knew the Lunar Sanctum would be so nice?
I could get used to a place like this.
Perhaps you could. But the Lunar Sanctum doesn't have room for any guests.
It's not that nice.
I don't care how nice this place is. It won't stop me from taking you down.
I understand. You have no regard for other people's property.
Are my eyes playing tricks on me?
Arlon seems to have a penchant for visual trickery.
It's just a little something I whipped up to whet your appetite.
This is so annoying. Lady Palutena, help me out here.
Deploying the Palutena Super Sensor.
I didn't know you had a super sensor.
I don't. You know I like to make stuff up.
Can't believe you're messing with me at a time like this.
Don't fret. You can use the green arrows to guide your way.
Now, how did you manage to place those here? Seems you've infiltrated the Lunar Sanctum's control core, Palutena. That leaves me relatively defenseless. Let this rectify that post-haste. If you'll excuse me, I must go gird my loins for your
TMI! Nobody wants to hear about your loins.
Post-haste, good show. Good show, I don't know. But seriously, Pit is upset that Palutena is messing at him at a time like this and making stuff up. Have you learned nothing about Palutena's character and the fourth wall that this game does not have by this point, Pit? Come on. You always talk about how this is a game. Usually I like to call these things adventures or not really refer to it as a game much when I'm playing through it, but here, I don't care nearly as much though because the game itself just seems to know that it's a game, so it doesn't really seem all that important. Over there, that is actually death if you head that way. I was curious what was that way because I've never actually been there before because I never really had the guts to get it anywhere close to that because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to run back. But here is where we're supposed to go. You want to be very, very careful in this area and be sparing with your fire. Having ranged weapons is good and all for this area, but this place can really, really suck if you are too happy with your fire. Thing is, you need to hit these switches so that they switch from pink to blue. Doing that will make these rails safe for you to grind on. If you don't make them safe in time, you are going to go plummeting off of a cliff, and you are going to take heavy damage from falling. Seems like the original Kid Icarus, right? Fall damage is your biggest enemy? Those who have played the original Kid Icarus know exactly what I'm talking about. For reference, no, I've never beaten the original. I got to World 2, though, which is more than 99% of the people that have played it can say, though, so I am at least in a better position than a lot of people are. Here we got a mud drone. Once again, they are huge, huge jerks. The charge shot of the Virgo Palm is very, very effective against them. I should also mention that the backdash charge shot of the Virgo Palm can put up a bit of a barrier to protect you from attacks. So, here, I'll demonstrate it there. That barrier can protect you. Very, very helpful indeed. That is the extra thing that the Virgo Palm does that I wanted to go over once I was on the ground. Get rid of all these enemies. Pew, pew. There we go. Good. And there's more. Where's there more? Oh, Nutski! Right behind me. Hey, you thought you could be clever. We also got a Mava right there, an enemy that you could have encountered back in the Reset Bomb Forest, but we never did. The Mava is basically the Shieldine of the forces of nature. I know that they recycle enemy ideas for a few of these, though, but come on. It's not nearly as bad as it could be. The Mavas can just kind of dip off screen and return to the Earth, which is kind of gruesome when you think about it, but hey. Got ourselves some food there, back to full health, very, very nice. Let's go. Here you're going to want to switch rails, because if you don't... Wow, that was weird, it wasn't switching rails there for a second. Hey, it's one of you worm enemies that doesn't do anything! Yay, I get to beat your face up and you don't do anything to prevent me from doing it! I sound like a school bully. No, I sure had enough experiences with those to really know how they think. But seriously, I do not promote bullying at all. It's terrible. But let's not think about negatives. Let's get in here. Toxy things. Toxy caps. I should mention Bumpity Bombs. They are some few enemies that have friendly fire on them. If they blow up near an enemy, even if they are of the Forces of Nature affiliation, they will harm each other. I also would like to mention that this is the first time where we are fighting the Forces of Nature without the Underworld army around, meaning that they will not just beat each other up and you can just sit there and watch, waiting for them to take each other out or weaken each other. So here, you're having to fight the Forces of Nature solo for the first time. I know, it really sucks! Whoa! I'm gonna bet that sounded hilarious. I didn't even know my voice could make that sound. I was like, sucks! Okay, let's get our melon. Pit loves melons. Specifically, one's dressed in green.
Now what do I
Think
do?
of that what you
Look
will.
carefully at the mirror's image.
Here at this mirror,
Notice some inconsistencies.
that rhymed, you can head into the walls where you see no wall in the reflection. You got yourself a treasure chest if you head in that way, and over here is where we're supposed to be going. Next up, we have these switches. Some of them are invisible in the real world, but appear in the mirror world. I'm starting to sound like an episode of Rugrats. So let's head over this way. Come on. Get ourselves some... Wow, pointless food is pointless. I don't need any of this. Now, I'm not sure if that food goes away if you continue walking forward. There's invisible floors here, and you can fall pretty easily. And I'm wanting to say that you can save that food just in case you fall down and you need to get more health to keep going. I recommend swiveling the camera here so that you can step on this quite easily. That'll make this path appear. Oh god, I did not want to dash. That's kind of another small complaint that I have, is that if you flick the circle pad too quickly, you can dash when you don't mean to, so you gotta kind of be careful with the circle pad whenever you're trying to not do that. Even though you do look in the mirror to see where the real path is, it definitely can be helpful to you to just do it the other way. But as we head up here, what do we got?
Pitu! Seriously, that is the last time I want to hear Pitu.
Arlon, did you call Pitu here?
I most certainly did.
He's not usually one to follow orders. How did you persuade him?
Quite simple, actually. Just the mention of young Master Pit's presence was enough to send his twin running.
Pitu just isn't happy unless he's fighting someone.
You say that like it's a bad thing. You stay out of this.
So, we got a surprise fight with Dark Pit. Now do you see why I mentioned that localization difference at the beginning, even though it seemed kind of random? Yeah, I was doing a thing. Okay, yeah, I'll stop. So, this reflect barrier is very, very helpful for this. He can't really do much to you if you have this thing up. Otherwise, he hurts. He hits like a truck. I hate this fight. It is much more difficult than any fight you've had with him up to this point. Even in his own chapter, especially. Well, actually, I think it's the only time that we've actually fought against him, and he seriously put me back in a crisis mode like as soon as I got out of it. Oh, no, 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 no. You are not going to kill me. You are not. Come on. No! Well, about that. Holding down on the circle pad, I finally get a chance to show this off. If you lose a lot of hearts, you will get this screen with this Reaper basically swimming in all the hearts you just lost. But about that. That intensity gate is a 7. And we didn't get to any intensity gate yet. Yeah, that is why I think this stage is so dang difficult. Because even though I've done stages on 9, I find this stage to be pretty difficult, and I can never get up to that 7 gate without any sort of trouble. That fight with Dark Pit in the middle just ends me. I should also say that for those that are curious, Dark Pit once again uses the silver bow in this stage. Same weapon that he used in the proper boss fight at the end of his chapter. Okay, see, I can just barely win this fight on 6, and yet I did it on 9 when I fought him in his own chapter. He's that annoying of a boss here. He is so much more powerful than he was when he was the boss of his proper chapter. And I understand that he's likely gotten stronger since then, and especially since this is like chapter 13 versus chapter 6, but still, he's so tough in this area. I never can fight him. I can never do a good job against him. I always try. Luckily, they give you a drink of the gods, so at least they knew this was a tough fight, but I consider that to be one of the toughest fights in the entire game. And yet, it's that fight that keeps me from that intensity gate so much, and is the whole reason why I'm going to need to replay this chapter to show you what is behind that intensity gate. So, we got ourselves some nutskis right here. We also have these paths that are branching right around. Oh, whoa, 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 what was that?
Ah! Are you trying to get me smushed?
Huh? That wasn't my doing.
Goodness, so sorry. I must have lost myself in the golden melody of her sneeze.
That's why you should cover your sneezes.
I would never. A strong sneeze is the sign of a strong spirit.
I'm sorry, Palutena. Normally I like you, but I am way too much of a germaphobe to actually agree with that logic. I swear I sanitize my hands like every 3.5 seconds. Hey, wow. Oh, that's one way to take out a Jitter Thug. And oh my god, it's the affinity symbol for the... A few people will understand what I'm referencing, but please don't look it up. Please don't. You shouldn't spoil what game I'm referencing for that. It's too good. Let's head inside.